Hey everyone, welcome back to Bowtech Live. Today is once again Target Tuesday edition. We have another great edition today. We have Paige Gore live, and if you've been following us along this past weekend, she competed in Darrington, Washington, and had a big win. In addition to some big news, she would like to share with everybody here as well. But not only that, we have some other tournaments to share on the World Cup level. The last time she spoke with us was right after Reading, and she's had some big tournaments since then, and we're finally able to connect and share a lot of those successes with the world. So get your questions in. I'm watching right here on the Facebook page. I know Paige loves answering questions that come in, so that's what she lives for. Welcome, Paige. How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good here. I know you're out there just rushed back from the tournament. You're enjoying your kids' camp that you put on.
Yep. It's going well. I've got 33 kids here this week going through Hunter Ed. They're learning how to shoot archery rifles, shotguns. So we've got a pretty busy week ahead of us.
Well, share with us kind of what's your, this kids camp initiative. I know you do this nonstop. We're talking about this a little bit before we went on air. Your mom gets these rolling while you're out of the tournament. So let's talk about this kids camp program you have.
So I actually stepped in officially in January as the executive director of, it's called Kids Outdoor Sports Camp. So I basically run the nonprofit for that is Kids Outdoor Sports Camp. And what we do is do summer camps for kids to get their hunter safety, to get them outdoors, to basically expose them to the hunting industry, the outdoor industry, and show them a lot of different aspects, that the outdoors has to offer. So we run quite a few camps this summer. And the beginning camps, they get their hunter ed, and then we also run advanced camps for kids who have their hunter safety already to learn more like in-depth, more skills they can apply actually in the field hunting. And so it's pretty crazy. I was just in Darrington, as you said, and then the camps actually run Sunday through Friday. So luckily, my mom has been covering for me. She covered for me on Sunday, and I flew back Sunday night and then was here first thing Monday morning. And I'll be here all week with the kids, and as soon as the kids leave on Friday, I have to head to the airport and catch a plane to SoCal for the next tournament. Same thing, my mom covers me Sunday. I'm going to fly back Sunday night, be here first thing Monday morning, and then do the next thing. I fly to OPA straight from the camp. Sue covers me straight back to another camp. So I'm not going to have a day off for a long time. It's going to be pretty hectic.
Other than sleeping in the airports, do you get any other good sleep in between there anywhere?
Not really. I kept trying to figure out the next day I got to sleep in, and it's going to be a while.
I noticed we haven't had too many posts from Dave of you taking naps in various areas, so you must be hopefully getting it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm working on it. The summers are pretty crazy, but as soon as it's done, I'll probably take a few days and just sleep a lot, try and catch back up.
I bet. Well, let's talk about your competitive schedule. So we got to interview you right after Reading when you went in there and decimate it all again. So let's talk about where you went from there. I know you were able to travel abroad again. So talk to us about your trip to Turkey.
So Turkey's always a fun trip, I would say. I actually really like Turkey. And right before I left for Turkey, I actually switched from the Fanatic to the BT Mag. And I had played a little bit with the BT Mag, but not a lot. And I had really liked how it aimed. I really liked the grip on it. I really liked how the bow felt in general. I liked everything about it. So anyway, I decided I would give it a try. It was 2 days before I left. And I ended up deciding I really like it, and I'm going to commit to shooting this bow in Turkey, and I'm going to give it a try. And really, my thought was, what's the worst that can happen is you lose. So, all right, I'm going to give it a go. So I did, and it actually worked out really well for me. At the World Cups, one of the first things you do is qualify, and I was actually qualified well enough. I think I ended up 6th, and the goal is to qualify in the top 8. If you do that, then you actually get buyed through the first 2 matches. And so that makes your life a lot easier, obviously trying to make it through as many matches as possible to reach the gold medal match. So then the following day, we actually went in and had to shoot our individual matches. And I actually shot the high score on the field for the women for every single match that day and was able to land myself in the gold medal match against Yasin Bostan from Turkey. So that was pretty cool because I was going to get to shoot against basically the home girl.
The hometown hero, you had to go for it.
Yes, so that was actually really neat. And then what's crazy is you don't actually shoot the match that day. It doesn't happen until days later. So in the meantime, you shoot normal team rounds, you shoot mixed team rounds, and there's some other stuff that goes on. Recurve shoots some stuff, and so we didn't actually get to shoot the finals match until Saturday or Friday. This tournament was all pushed one day forward, but anyway, a few days later, and actually, so I went into the match, and I ended up taking second. Yasim ended up beating me in the match. The way it works, you shoot 15 arrows, so it's 5 ends of 3 arrows. And I actually shot incredibly well in the match. I was really happy with it. She just shot better.
Right, right. I remember we were texting afterwards, and you're like, she just shot lights out, and I think you weren't expecting that. I could tell from your message that you know, going in that she really stepped up and.
Yes. No, so normally I wouldn't say that, but World Archery wrote an article about it, so I guess it makes it all right to talk about. But I've watched Justine in a lot of finals matches, and she never seems to do that well. She actually made the finals at World Championship Outdoor and at World Championship Indoor this last year, and both times did not perform well in the finals. And so I was, you know, kind of thinking about that. And then World Archery actually wrote an article about her saying, basically, hey, she never does well in the finals. Is she going to blow it
Poor girl.
in her home country? It was horrible. I felt so bad for her. So then basically that came out. And so again, I kind of figured if I shot 145, 146 probably, 146 or better, that it would be enough to win the match. Clearly it wasn't. She shot a 147. So kudos to her. I mean, she shot incredible. But at the end of the day, I mean, really, I can't control, obviously, what she does. I can control only what I do. And even though I didn't win the match, I was still really happy with my performance. So, again, I walked away. I was still really happy with how that went. But
you probably brought
the World Cups.
Go ahead.
Oh, good.
I was going to say, you brought the best out in her when she's competing against somebody like yourself. She's got to pour it on, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, I definitely, like I said, was not prepared for how that went. But I was really happy with it, and I was really happy with my performance. And I think World Cups, World Championships, that style, are by far the hardest tournaments to win. Because it all comes down, it's 15 arrow matches, and anything can happen. So for me, it really, really means a lot when you make it to a gold medal match in a World Cup final, or a World Cup, you know, finals match. So just being there in the gold medal match, I was pretty excited about. And then I actually really liked shooting in front of the people and the cameras, and it basically puts a lot of pressure on you, and it makes you a lot better archer. So I was happy just to be there, but I really had a great time in Turkey, and you know, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Does that weight play into it all, you know, waiting so long to be able to go to your gold medal match, or does it not matter?
You know, it kind of depends. I wish, honestly, that we could have just shot it the day that we shot our other matches, because I was definitely on a roll. And so the one thing that does suck about it is if you are on a roll on the previous days, that's the only match you're probably going to shoot that day for the finals. So you can warm up. They have a little warm-up area for the archers who are competing in a finals match. But you kind of have to start fresh, and it'd be nice if you were shooting really well that day if you could just roll into your match. So that's one nice thing when we shoot the USAT events. It's all done in the same day. So if you're shooting really well that day, the odds of continuing through and shooting well in the gold medal match are very high. But obviously, you hope that it's like, man, I really hope on finals day that I'm aiming good, that everything feels good, because we all know, you know, your bow does feel or you aim different day to day. So overall, you know, I think it definitely gives you some time to stress about it, but it, you know, I don't know. I more got excited for it because, like I said, I really enjoy shooting in the finals, and I hadn't got to do it in a little while, so I was looking forward to it.
Well, I think it was a good opportunity for you as well. I've, you know, following you on social media and follow the other ladies that you're hanging out with. Some good opportunities to connect with those ladies again while you're there. I know you all had you had a group that was having a lot of fun watching the other matches and everything else. And
yeah, it's a ton of fun. The finals are always fun. Everyone's cheering and yelling. So, like I said, it's always a good experience to have for sure.
All right. Well, let's talk, you know, your transition, you know, coming back from Turkey, and then you got to start thinking, you know, going to the U.S. Field Nationals at that point. So how do you prep making that transition coming at, you know, from the World Cup in Turkey to making that, to competing at the, going to Darrington and competing in the Field Nationals?
So this is going to be a terrible answer, but there should be a ton of prep. Feet of field is one of the hardest kinds of archery, I believe, because it's challenging targets. Obviously, you've got the element of it being field in general with the distance changes, so you have to have a really good sight tape. Another really cool element is the X ring on those targets actually scores a 6. So it's basically like a bonus point for hitting the X. So you can't just be, I don't want to say sloppy, but sloppy and barely hanging the 5 ring or hanging the dot. You need to actually be hitting the middle of the dot the entire time. Or someone who hits 4 X's and you hit 4 5s, you're now 4 points behind in one target. So it allows for very big point swings with that style format. The other thing that makes it very challenging, you cannot use a rangefinder, and you cannot use an inclinometer or anything to help you know the cuts. So when you're shooting on marked or unmarked day, you have to be able to judge the cuts yourself.
And they're serious cuts too.
Yeah, there's some serious cuts, like crazy cuts. Like you're cutting yards and yards, it's not just a quarter yard here or a half yard there. So that's pretty interesting. Then the most challenging part is they actually do an unmarked day. Now, there's a lot of debate about what's legal rule-wise and what's not, but they actually put out a way to teach you how to frame the targets. So instead of judging, it's basically like a ranging system, like by framing the targets. And so that takes some time, and time that I didn't really have. So most of the tournaments, I always feel relatively prepared. I at least have a sight tape and maybe have shot it a little bit. But this one, when I came back, I was prepping for the camps that we spoke about earlier, and work was crazy. So I really didn't get to shoot. So there was one day that I actually got to take my bow out, and I never even shot an arrow, but I just kind of did some ranging or whatever, like framing on the targets. And that's all I got to do before I left. So for me, I wasn't really worried about the marked day because I knew I could compete at that. I was just really worried about getting through the unmarked day and not making any big mistakes that put me behind, any of the other women. So with that said, and another thing too, my bow kind of got a little damaged, not my bow, but my strings coming back from Turkey. And so I didn't even take my bow out of the case for a while. And when I took it out, I realized that there was some stuff wrong. So we had to go fix that also last minute. So needless to say, I did not feel prepared, but I was pretty nervous actually. I ended up getting there, and on Friday we actually shot the marked day, or the unmarked day, and I did way better than expected. There were only 2 targets that I judged wrong, and I only judged them wrong enough to shoot a 4. So I was just out of the dot, and then I knew how much to adjust and was fine for the next 2 arrows. So really, I would totally consider that a win. I was really happy with how that went just because I didn't have a lot of time to practice that system. Then going into the marked day, I was feeling really good about that because I knew my bow was shooting really well. Also, obviously, this was the first time that I shot the BT mag in any sort of a field setting. So I shot it at FIDA, but I was really curious to see how it did on a field course. Because it is a totally different game. So Obviously now I can say that it worked really well for both. But the mark day went incredible. I shot really good overall, and I was super happy with my performance through the entire weekend. And so the first 2 days of that tournament were the national field championships for USA Archery. So I was able to walk away with the win from the nationals.
Beating your sister-in-law again.
Yeah, poor Heather. She's really good at that field stuff. She shoots that a lot, and she really enjoys it. But it was pretty cool because I got to travel with her for the weekend and got to spend time together. So
was that a rough trip home?
No. It's one thing I can say is we all shoot with each other so much and win and lose to each other so much, not just Heather and I, but all of the women, that we all take it pretty well. And I think the difference is we all really respect each other as competitors. Right. And so that makes either winning against someone or losing to someone a whole lot easier when you respect the people that you're shooting against.
That's great. I know Jamie's always up there. I know you compete together on the team level as well. That's a good podium, when you sent me the photos. And I think we talked about you ended up winning, but it wasn't just winning. I think you won by a considerable amount.
I did. I won the nationals by 36, I think. Yeah. So I shot really well. But the difference, too, and I explained earlier, is that X is a 6. So I really like that style shooting because for me, my shots tend to be perfect or bad. There's not really a lot of gray area.
Right.
And so what's nice is if you're not shooting the 6 style and you shoot a bad shot that let's say is a 4, the 5 is obviously the high score, you're dropping points. But what's nice is when you have that 6 ring, you're actually rewarded when you hit the dead center, when you hit the middle. And so I tend to do a lot better or score higher when the X is in play as an extra point, because like I said, I do hit the middle a lot, but when I miss, it tends to be a legitimate miss.
Right. Right. So that was one piece of this tournament going into the Field Nationals. So there's a second piece that you were able to compete in. I know you were really excited when you told me about winning the Field Nationals. So share the big news going into the other part of the tournament.
So the final day was the last part of the World Team Trials to go to the World Field Championships in Italy later this year. And so obviously being on the World Cup team is incredible, and it's so much fun. Same thing, I was lucky enough to shoot the Indoor World Championships with Team USA. But field has always been my love, field and 3D. And so I really, really wanted to make this team to go shoot in Italy later in the year. And so anyway, we went into the final day, and they actually kept it cumulative score. So the first 2 days counted, and then we actually had 8 targets that we shot. So the top 8 people from the first 2 days got to play on the final day. And we went and shot 8 targets. And then the people with the highest 4 scores from the 8 targets got to go into like a sudden death round. And we shot 4 targets with the last 4 people. And then the 3 people with the highest cumulative score for all the arrows ended up making the team. So I actually shot even better on that day than I did on the 2 days of nationals. So I was really, really happy with that. And so I ended up locking up the first place position for the world team to Cortina, Italy later this year. So I'm super excited to be doing that. And it was kind of a big sigh of relief once that was done, because it's not just a national tournament, it's also a trials event. So it was nice to kind of knock both those out and perform really, really well.
Right, right. So have you been to Italy before to compete, or is this new for another new stop for you?
I've actually never shot in Italy before. Where I shot the Worlds once before 6 years ago in Val d'Isère, France. And I think it was pretty much the same mountain range that we were shooting on, or at least very close. And so I've been right there, but I haven't actually shot in Italy. So this is going to be, my first time doing that. They usually pick places with big mountains and steep hills because, like I said, it's pretty extreme when it comes to the angles and the cuts that you're shooting. So I'm sure they strategically picked a very challenging venue.
Some lady named Stacy Meyer Pierce said she's very so proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
I figured you enjoy that. So, and actually, It looks like you have somebody we were talking about. I know you're a big hunter as well, but looks like Devin has joined us, following along as well. So, we're probably heard us talking about him. We'll tell you, Devin, what we were talking about a little bit later in this.
That's awesome.
So, before we came on the air, we were talking about your schedule. Now you've added Italy into this schedule as well. So you have the camp you're at right now, but you're rushing off to your next tournament here pretty quick. So take us through where you're headed really over the next few months, even a few weeks.
Man, it's gonna be crazy. Talking about it stresses me out.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So I have the camp, and then I head to SoCal, and then I come back and have another camp immediately. And then I get to head to OPA, which I'm so excited about because that's one of my favorite events of the year. And then right after OPA, I have another camp. Then I actually get a week off for the 4th of July. We don't run a camp. I do have a tournament in Oregon, actually Eugene, so I might be up there by you guys.
Oh, there you go. You got to come into the studio. We got to do this live in studio. None of this FaceTime stuff when you're this close.
I know. Okay, so that, and then I have another camp for work. And then I actually head straight out to Berlin, Germany for the 4th World Cup of the year. And then when I come back from that, we have the NFAA Field Nationals in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And then we've got 2 FIDAs in Ohio. But I actually added another tournament I haven't even told you about yet. The Pan American Championships are in Columbia this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually go to Ohio the first time for the first FIDA, which I think the first one's the Nationals. And then I'm flying straight from Ohio down to Columbia for the Pan American Championships. Then I get to come home for a few days and then go back to Ohio for the next FIDA. So that's going to be pretty crazy. So I just got that email, I think last week, to accept that trip. So I went ahead and did it. So I added another one to my plate, but it'll be all right.
So is Dave joining you on this loop anywhere along the way?
I actually don't think he is, so I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's just hard with both of us trying to
Yeah.
work, and like I said, between my work and work back home, and then trying to shoot, it's been a lot to kind of handle and keep everything going. So we're hanging in there,
That's
but it's
good.
definitely not easy.
Have you, you know, have you looked at any, getting any hunting time wedged in here anywhere?
I am. So Devin, this is what we were talking about. So in California, our deer season actually opens in August.
Hmm.
So I never get to hunt a lot here because I'm always still competing. But I'm super excited because Devin invited us to go up and hunt moose and whitetail in Canada with him. He's also a fellow Bowtecher, for those of
Oh
you
yeah,
guys
heck
who
yeah.
don't know that.
Devin and his
And so my
girls, yep.
dad, we are. So my dad and I are going to head up and hunt with him in November. So I'm super excited about that. I still have to do the paperwork because I'm a slacker, but Devin, I have it. I still get to do it. So that's something that's going to be really nice. November is a really good month. I'm only worried about an indoor World Cup, so we've got 2 weeks picked out, and I know one of them will work, which is
Heck,
awesome.
moose
So I'm
hunting's way
trying.
better. You got to go moose hunting. Heck with that indoor World Cup stuff. Moose
I
hunting.
know, I know. So pretty much that's what we're gonna do. So I'm pretty excited about that, just because, like I said, I don't get out to hunt enough, for what I would like to do now that the tournament schedules are so insane. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a nice break to like enjoy shooting your bow. That's not as stressful as tournament competition.
Sure.
And I think I'm going to have a really good time up there with him and his family and both the girls. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I bet. I bet. So a lot of people, and we talk about this in a lot of our interviews. They see you competing time and time again, and you have those hunting pictures. And I talked to Aaron about this as well, and they don't realize how big of a hunter you are, because
Yeah.
always seeing you up on this podium. But I mean, what is your favorite? I mean, if you were to rank the two, and it might be a tough question, hunting or competing?
So honestly, if I had to totally pick one to cut out of my life forever, I would probably choose to continue shooting targets over hunting, just because I think I would miss the people so much, because I feel like all the people I shoot with are like family. I'm with them
Right.
so much. But I grew up hunting from the time, we were little kids. Both my mom and dad drug my brother around with them. From the time we were babies out in the field. And my brother and I both got our hunting licenses at 8 and started hunting small game. And then as soon as we turned 12, my parents took us out of state to Colorado. We hunted in California. So we were really fortunate to have a lot of really cool opportunities when it came to hunting. Last year, I got to go hunt with Rod and Alexis. We got to go elk hunt in Idaho, and that was really, really cool. We got to do that with my bow. And so pretty much any time that we can fit a hunt in, I love to do it. I have my hunting bow set up year round, so it's always ready to go. So kind of the hunting pictures that you see, I'll be at a tournament and I'm home for a few days and I'll hunt turkeys while I'm home, or I'll be home for a few days and go hunt pigs while I'm home. So any chance I'm home, I'm usually trying to take advantage of that and at
Sure.
least go hunt whatever season is open. It's just so hard because we're home such few days.
Right, and you've been quite the pig slayer this year. I think it was a few weeks ago. I think I saw another one pop up on social that you came home and put down.
Yeah, no, I really love hunting pigs. That's something that we have a lot of here in Northern California. And I think they're super fun to hunt, both with a gun and with a bow. And so that's one of those things that anytime I have a chance to pig hunt, I definitely want to take it. Obviously, turkey hunting is fun too, but I'm really looking forward to deer season. Last year in California, I didn't really get out and hunt deer. So that's something I'm really looking forward to this year. And I'm just going to hunt as much as I can on the days that I'm home.
How much elk hunting do you do?
Not enough. So I haven't
None of
went
us
for a
can
long
get enough.
time. I used to go in Colorado with my dad, and that ends up always overlapping a tournament, usually like a world championship, so I never end up getting to go. And then last year, I was lucky enough to go with Rod and Alexis, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make that work this year. So I'm kind of subbing in the trip with Devin for any of like the elk hunting stuff. So I don't actually think I'm going to get to elk
Sure.
hunt this year, but after doing that last year, I was definitely hooked. It's a ton of fun. Hearing
Yep.
a bugle's so exciting. And it's a lot of work, but it's also really rewarding compared to some of the other types hunting. I think it's more exciting than a lot of the other stuff that we
Oh,
hunt.
absolutely.
So,
Up close.
yeah.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned Colorado. So those of you that are watching that don't know, and I think you're crazy if you don't know this at this point, but we are giving away an all expense paid elk hunt to Colorado. So I'm glad that Paige mentioned Colorado, because when people think big elk, they think Colorado generally. So we're going to give you an all expense paid hunt to Colorado, and we're going to make it super, super simple to join if you haven't done it yet. So all you need to do is text the word hunt to 77453. What we'll do is we'll shoot you a text. It'll have a cool little link in there. You go to that link, and what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little quiz. And Paige, you can go in there and try this. Unfortunately, you're not eligible to win like myself or like Nolan. We're bummed because I haven't done it either. But you can get in there and take the quiz, and it doesn't matter your answers. No matter how you answer at the end, you're going to be able to enter. But we want to give you a little fun quiz. That way we can kind of see what your elk knowledge is. Fairly easy questions, but it's cool. Get in there. I think there's only like 3 or 4 in there. Take that quiz. Hit submit, get in there, drop in your information, and you are entered to win. So we're going to be giving that away in August, and the hunt we'll be looking at right in that mid to late September time. So, and then we'll also be, I think, right around September 20th. We'll have more details to follow as far as where it's going to be at. And you're going to be seeing some cool stuff, because this is with one of our own Bowtech ambassadors, Nate Zielinski. He is an absolute elk stud. So if you watch any of his live content, he's a wealth of knowledge, and you're bound to have a good time. I'm jealous myself, because there's a pretty good chance you're going to get a bull of a lifetime there if you haven't had an opportunity to go to Colorado. So sorry, Paige, I had to get that in there because I know you mentioned Colorado, and we had this big old elk behind me, but I'm jealous because I don't get to go on this hunt. Nolan and I want to.
I know, that sounds so exciting. Guys, for real, that is like the easiest way to end an elk hunt ever. I definitely remember this number. I think I hear it in my sleep. 77453.
Yep,
Text hunt to that number. Get in. Get a chance to win. Again, you'd be crazy if you don't. Who doesn't want a free hunt?
Oh,
I
no doubt.
love a free hunt. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, we're giving them everything. We're going to give them a bow fully set up. We're going to give them gear. And we're going to get them there. So basically, they have to wear clothes on the airplane, bring obviously a change of clothes. But I think we'll be able to hook them up with other gear, and it's a fully outfitted package. You don't see that from anyone. That's awesome.
No, honestly, I have never heard of anybody doing that before, and definitely not to that extent.
Right.
So again, that's such a cool thing that you guys are doing that, and obviously whoever wins is going to be one really, really happy person.
And we're going to be filming this stuff live, so there's a good opportunity. We're going to be coming, doing some interviews with them in the field, also live shares if they're onto an elk. Nate's a madman, so I think he can get it done. He's out scouting right now, so that's one thing we're going to be sharing with everyone is while Nate's out scouting, he's going to be coming to you live, showing you the areas they potentially could be in if you win this. So, it's one thing, generally on a trip like this, you don't get to see where you're going ahead of time like that. And it's, Nate's going to make it happen. The guy's going to be cool. So
that's going to be so cool.
Well, I know you have a bunch of kids to get back to out swimming in the pool out there, and there's some folks helping you out watching. Is there anything else, any other big news you would like to share, or anything you would like to share with the folks watching?
Nothing really too new. Just been working a lot.
Yep.
I will say that I'm super excited with the BT Mag. That's probably like the biggest, newest thing that's happened. Obviously the Fanatic is the one that everyone pushes as being, the top target bow. But let me tell you, the Fanatic is where it's at. Or not the Fanatic, but they both are. But at the moment, the BT Mag is where it's at.
Yep. That's that one right there.
It is incredible. I really love it. And for whatever reason, that bow and my shooting style are just really getting along. So I'm actually really excited to see how these next tournaments go. I used the same setup at the FIDA as I did for the field, and it performed really well at both, set up exactly the same. So again, it just shows how versatile it is. So I'm super excited with it, and I'm going to probably finish the year out with that. I do travel with my Fanatic now as a backup, so I have both there, so I can always switch back and forth. But, like I said, if you guys do have the opportunity to try one of those bows out, you really should. Like I said, it took me too long. I should have tried it sooner, but now that I did, I'm really happy.
Well, and that's, I think, a lot of people. So what's your draw length? I think that'll, help a lot of people with making a decision to shoot the bow, I think, and I can explain
I
that.
fall about 27.5 to 27 3/4. I think just to give you guys a couple little differences that I noticed between the two. The grip placement and the riser on the BT Mag seems to be a little lower than on the Fanatic. And for me, that riser design actually aims a little bit better. I have like the chronic bob out the bottom issue. So I actually aimed that bow a lot better than I typically aim the Fanatic. So that was the first thing that I noticed picking it up, that it aimed really well. Another thing that is so great about the Fanatic is that when you shoot, it feels completely dead in your hand. There's no aftershock, there's no movement, the bow just sits. I will say that the Fanatic does have a little bit more feel to it after the shot, but I actually really like that because it definitely gives me some like direction and like aggression as the shot breaks.
Right.
So again, that feel is kind of more of like a shot preference type thing. One really cool thing about the BT Mag is you can adjust, how difficult the draw cycle is in the stages 1, 2, and 3. So I actually run mine for tournaments in the easiest stage, but it shoots so well in all of them. At the end of indoor season, I posted this on my Insta story, but I'd set it up for indoor, and I was just going to try it out and see how it did. And I actually had it in the most aggressive setting by accident. I just threw it together really quickly, and I shot a 30X with it the first time I ever tried to shoot it. I was like floored. I was amazed. And so again, there's so much you can do to change the feel of that bow, just like the Fanatic, that you can customize both of those to really any feel that you're going to like. The axle to axles are very similar. So again, if you're used to shooting the Fanatic, you can switch, and the string angle on your face is not going to feel different. It's going to be very comfortable for you. If you're a woman and you've got smaller hands, or you tend to like a little bit smaller grip, then the BT Mag does offer that for you, though the Fanatic already has a pretty slim grip, which is nice as well. So again, really, there's obviously things that I love about both. Just for whatever reason, at this point in time, the BT Mag and, like I said, my shooting style are really getting along.
Right. I think Erin's doing well with it as well. That's what she's been placing with.
She is. I actually talked to her about how she set hers up and what she thought, and had her basically give me the same comparisons between the two when I was deciding if I wanted to take the time to try and give the BT Mag a fair shot. And like I said, she kind of talked me into it, and I'm really glad she did, because it obviously paid off.
Right. And the reason I asked about your drawing is because a lot of ladies look at the size of that bow and they think, I can't shoot that bow, but we actually have two models. So we have the BT Mag, which Paige and Erin McGladder are shooting. And we also have the BT Mag X. So a guy like Tim Gillingham can put that same style bow, a little bit bigger draw length range in his hands, and have the benefit of the higher end of the draw length. So those of you that are on that short end, I'm a 27.5 inch myself, so when you're down in that draw length range, you're able to shoot a bow and it performs like the BT Mag at that draw length. So I definitely recommend, if you're out there weighing a target bow going into the fall here, take a look at the BT Mag as well, because like Paige said, a lot of people look at the Fanatic and think that's our only target bow, to where you're going to get some pretty good performance and forgiveness in the BT Mag as well, and the X if you're on that longer end, end of the draw.
No, that's one really cool thing, obviously, about Bowtech, is you guys offer obviously a lot of good target bows and a ton of awesome hunting bows. I mean, the Realm has been such a hit, and I love my Rain. And so again, having multiple choices on the target side is so important. So not only having two bows, but then, as you said, the BT Mag has two different cam options as well for shorter or normal draw length, and then like longer draw length people. And the Fanatic has that as well. They have the SD and then the XL. So anyone with long draw length, we can accommodate, and then anyone on the shorter draw length side, we can accommodate as well. And the bows are not heavy. If you look at the overall mass weight of the risers compared to some of the other companies who have bows of similar stats, they're pretty light. And so that's a really nice thing too, because you can put the weight in your setup where you want, instead of having so much of it in the risers. So overall, it's just an incredible design. They're so versatile. There's so much that you can do for them. They're going to fit anybody, and you can literally adjust them to accommodate any shooting style. And there's really no other bows out there that you can say that about. So I'm just super excited. Like I said, I've been kind of playing with that bow and messing around with it, and it's only getting better and better. So, anyone who's looking for something, give them a try. I know you won't be disappointed. I
know when you texted me and it told me you had set it up, it was almost like, what have I been waiting for type text I was reading. I kind of got a chuckle. I was at home and you had texted me that. I was I thought it was pretty funny, but you know, I'm glad it's definitely worked out for you.
It has. No, I'm really glad.
But I know I need to let you go. You've got kids out there in the swimming pool, and some people are keeping track of them for you. I want to make sure they're not running rampant on you. They might be chasing, might have somebody tied up at this point out there. So
I know they're behaving. I can see them out the window.
Awesome.
We actually have a ton of counselors here. We've got 10 to probably 13 counselors. So we've got people all over. They're good.
Yep. So everybody watching, make sure you keep track, because I'm going to be sharing how Paige does in SoCal. No pressure, Paige. So I know I don't want to make you nervous. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned through this weekend, because I like it. You know, Paige gives me updates, and I like sharing those along the way. And potentially next week we may see Paige here live again, sharing some good news for us. So I appreciate you joining us today. I know you've had a hectic weekend with the kids, and I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day to come join us on Bowtech Live.
Yeah, thank you guys again. I really appreciate that. For everybody watching, don't forget, text HUNT to 77453 to win an all-inclusive elk hunt. So again, Stay tuned, not just with my videos, but with everything that Bowtech is putting out, because they've got so much awesome content. Make sure you get in for a chance to win that hunt.
Awesome. You made my job easy. Join us next time on Bowtech Live. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, have fun and shoot straight.